Greetings and welcome to the Barbra Gentry-Pugh Show. I'm excited that you were able to join us today, and I'm honored to have Linda Charter as my special guest today. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Barbara.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I met Linda several weeks ago at the Women Who Inspire meeting, and we just kind of got to know each other and decided to have Linda on the show today. And I just want to tell you that Linda is one of those people that specializes in wellness. She's a wellness coach, and I think we all can use I need a wellness coach sometimes, because really we sometimes kind of take care of everything else except our bodies or the environment. So Linda has been a wellness coach for 17 years. Wow. You've had a lot of experience.
I'd like to think so.
17 years should give you quite a bit of experience. Linda has, her husband is David, and they've been married 46 years. Wow. That's a long time, Linda.
That's a long time.
46 wonderful years. And she has 3 boys and 4 grandchildren. So, Linda, tell us a little bit why you decided to be a wellness coach, and maybe what is a wellness coach? What do you do?
Well, a wellness coach helps people choose the right products to use in their home. We try to teach people how to get rid of the toxins that we all had a tendency to use. Get rid of all those things like bleach and ammonia, and use healthier things. And then I help them choose the right nutritional supplements for them and their families. And sometimes we focus on helping them with their financial wellness as well.
Okay. So being a nurse, I'm well acquainted with bleach, so it must be a toxin in my house.
Yeah, it is, and that's one thing people have a tendency to not want to get rid of.
Not want to get rid of bleach. Well, it would be hard to think about getting rid of bleach, but I'm willing to hear more about what you do and how you keep the environment healthy, as well as our own person, the person healthy as well.
Well, I always tell people that God gave us a perfect body, and we don't always take care of it as well as we should. And He gave us a perfect earth, and if we don't start taking care of it better, it's not going to be perfect anymore.
How receptive? I know that when I think about being in the health profession, a lot of people seem to put their health on the back burner. You know, they're busy. They know the right things to eat. They know the right type of products to use, but it doesn't always seem to be a priority. After being in the field for 17 years, share with our audience just how receptive, and once you get involved in individuals, is that something that they really, really see as a value?
I wouldn't say everyone.
Okay.
God usually puts me in front of the right people that are receptive and that want to learn how to take care of themselves better and their homes better.
So do you think it's just that it's a change, or people?
Well, it's definitely
habits,
a change.
And people develop habits, and this is very, we like to eat a certain thing, and I just feel like I have to have that certain thing sometimes.
Well, it's when it comes to the products that we use to clean and do laundry, most people have gotten that from their grandparents, their mother, their grandmother. And so they just thought, well, if they did it, then it must be okay. And really, it's harming us as far as our health goes.
Okay. When you think about wellness, the World Health Organization said it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And it's not merely the absence of disease, but it's the whole person. And also, we can also think of it as being our environment being clean and well, as far as being able to breathe the right kind of the healthy air,
Yes.
So it's very important that we just not look at one aspect of wellness, but the whole thing.
That's right, and it's also our, it's our spiritual wellness.
Absolutely.
It's our mental health. But people are finding that they're ill. They don't know why. They're taking the wrong supplements, and they're just not doing things as healthy as they could be.
I worked in the hospital for almost 20 years, and it was always amazing to me how people just don't really take their health. I mean, I would say the majority of them just don't take it serious.
They wait until they're
absolutely
really sick before they do anything.
And then some don't even accept it then. I mean, I've talked to young women that had high blood pressure, and they just didn't want to deal with it. I mean, they were in complete denial. And then, well, I just can't, stop eating this, or, I really like to use salt. It is amazing to me that we don't value this temple that God has given us, this body that He's given us. And,
That's right.
The Scripture says He wants us whole, both mind, body, and spirit. And I don't think it was a suggestion either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a suggestion. It was, we're supposed to be listening to that.
So tell me a little bit more about your coaching and what you do, and how do you meet people that are open to what you have to offer?
Well, I meet a lot of people through the different organizations that I belong to, Women Who Inspire for one. And I get a lot of referrals from, customers that are really happy with what their products they're using and how everything's working for them. I like to talk to people.
And just to meet people. I know that's how I met you at the Women Who Inspire meeting.
Yeah.
Wonderful women, and it was just a joy.
Great women in that group. And spiritual women, which tend to listen a little bit better.
I think it does have something, if we value the body that God gave us, we tend to have a little bit of a different perspective. But there are also people that are not very spiritual, or maybe not know God, that are very health conscious.
And sometimes I can help them in that way too, by just talking to them about what I believe. So it all kind of goes together.
Okay. So how do you approach the whole subject when you meet someone? And how do you find out in the first few minutes? I remember the speaker at our meeting and how much you can tell about a person in that fourth of a second, did she say?
Yeah, she did.
I was just amazed at that. I was like, oh my goodness. You form an opinion. Really
and
quickly.
She said a quarter of a second.
That was amazing to me.
We haven't even gotten any words out of your mouth yet.
But presence, you can tell a lot about a person about their countenance. And she spoke about confidence, which really made me think how you present to others.
Well, I was never confident in myself. And over the years, as I got to know God, and He helped me develop a belief in myself that what I was doing was right for me. And I always like to help people, and this is the way that He's chosen for me to help people.
Well, one of the things that's so great about God is that when we become His child, He adopts us. We become His children, and we're very, very valuable to Him and how much He loves us. And as we grow and we know who we are in Christ, we can be that confident person, and we can share with others confidently because we know who we are. We belong to the God that made this earth, that made this body. So it means so much to know that when you're anchored in Christ.
And that gets me through a lot of challenges.
A lot of challenges. Gets all of us through a lot of challenges.
That's right.
So let's talk about the environment. I know that mainly when you work with people, it's either their health.
It's kind of a combination.
It's a combination, okay, because in all the scope of all the different types of wellness. We talked about being whole, socially, physically, spiritually, environmentally, intellectually, all those aspects. But the two main thing I think is being whole in our body, mind, and spirit.
Right.
And that carries over into the other areas.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just a combination of, taking care of ourselves physically and mentally and spiritually, and taking care of, bringing the non-toxic products in our home and combining it all together into one.
Working with individuals for several years, what change do you see? If you become my wellness coach, what change do you see mentally, physically, spiritually? What do you see from your coaching?
What I see is people are excited about sharing what they're learning and what they're experiencing with other people.
Mm-hmm.
They want everybody
To be healthy.
to be healthy like them. They want everybody to be spiritually well, and they don't have a problem sharing it with other people.
Now, in terms of what you share with them physically, do you have to change your whole way of eating? I mean, what is it? Help our audience understand being a coach and wellness, and how do you go about becoming healthy and whole?
I try to encourage them to, eat better. I tell them what I've done for myself as far as my changes in eating. I mean, it's okay to have a cookie or a piece of cake as long as you don't eat the whole box of cookies or the whole cake. But I've changed a lot of the way I eat, and I also try to encourage them. I exercise. I share a story about the doctor told me to, when I was 50, he told me I should exercise more, and I said, exercise more? I don't exercise at all. And he said, well, you need to start. So I started exercising, and
And you feel better. I know.
I started to feel better, and it really helps me emotionally. It helps me to do that.
Oh, exercise has so many wonderful benefits.
And I also been doing a lot of volunteering, and so I'm meeting people that way too.
Okay. And so the change that you've seen in them is a whole attitude change about...
Pretty much.
Okay. And they embrace what you have to offer.
Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time. And those that don't, let's just talk about, we don't want to be negative, but let's talk
Yeah,
about
right.
those
Okay.
that maybe can't see, you're their coach and they just can't see the value in removing toxins, in eating right, eating the right food, taking the right supplements.
It's very difficult to coach someone that doesn't listen.
Okay.
So you kind of start to think, well, maybe they're not coachable. I try not to tell them what to do. I just try to show them different ways that they could, maybe just start doing things a little healthier, so that so they don't just think I'm trying to tell them everything to do.
And really, it's kind of sometimes the season that we're in. If you're younger versus if you're older, you may not take some things as seriously as others times. Do you find that?
It doesn't really have anything to do with age.
Okay, that's good.
It doesn't really have anything to do with
Really?
age.
Okay.
No. I mean, you could
So
have
you
it-
don't get older and wiser when it comes to your body?
Well,
I mean,
sometimes they do,
in
but
general.
I mean that people will listen if they want to, whether they're 18 or 80, they'll listen.
Because I know a lot of young people that are very, very health conscious and very open to what to do, to feel better, to take care of God's temple. So
So you can't base it on, oh, well, I should just talk to somebody that's 40.
so age doesn't seem to matter.
No, not really. If
Let's
they're
talk
open.
about the environment. in terms of removing toxins from the environment?
Well, there's a lot of chemicals out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not tested, and they just put them in the products and hope for the best.
I've learned to read labels. And once you look at a label and you see all of some of the things that's in a product, and you really care about what you put in your body, you really stop and think, well, maybe I won't have that. And really, low fat is not really the best thing because it has a lot of sugar in it.
Right.
So we really have to know what we're putting in our bodies.
Yes.
Because I just believe that God wants us to feel good. He wants us to take care of his temple.
If you ask people, like, do you care about what you use? Do you care about what you put in your body? If they say yes, then
The door is kind of open.
yes, the door is open to
Mm-hmm.
talk to them.
Talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the reasons that they give you as to, if you care to share those? You sort of smiled there. I didn't know if that was good or bad.
No. As far as which products? The products that they're eating?
Both.
Okay. Sometimes they just tell you that they want to eat what they want to eat, and they're not going to change. So, you can't expect miracles with a product if they're not willing to make some other changes. And as far as like the toxic things that they use to clean and do laundry, I find more and more people are actually accepting that part of it. But sometimes they're just not willing to
give up some of those
No.
foods.
They're not willing to give up the foods. They're not willing to give up I love, certain laundry soap, or I love bleach.
I might have to get rid of the bleach.
Yes.
You have something as good as bleach?
Yes, and it doesn't have any chemicals in it either.
Okay, all right. Well, I think I have some idea of what you deal with as a coach, as a wellness coach, because being a nurse for over 30 years and just dealing with individuals, just talking to them about the things that they need to do, to be healthy, and how close some people are. I mean, they just, I don't know, they just don't really value living longer, living healthy, living a quality life. And I think sometimes we're such a generation of wanting what we want when we want it now,
Right.
we can't see ahead that there are some benefits if we actually will take the time to look at the long term. If I eat better when I get to be 60, 70, 80, I'm going to have a better body. I'm going to have a better quality of life. And I think sometimes we just don't, we think of the here and now. We don't think long term.
Well, this is, when you're thinking about how much longer people are living, do you want to be healthy and well and vibrant when you're older, or do you want to be sick?
Well, I really
I don't want to
think-
be sick.
I don't want to be sick either. I want to be healthy. I want to feel good. I've taken care of a lot of sick patients,
I'm sure,
and I
yeah.
do not want to be in the condition. And if I can prevent that, I'm going to do all I can to. But it's something about the psyche. It's something, and I call it really deception of the enemy. And I had a patient years ago. I had not been out of nursing school very long. And this patient had lung cancer, and also he developed throat cancer. And he had a trach, and years ago, not now, but years ago, they were allowed to, there was areas in the hospital or a wing on the hospital where you could smoke, believe it or not, long time ago. This patient, I worked the night shift, and I'd come on, and he had had a nap, and he'd want to get up and smoke. And he had a tracheotomy, and he would smoke through the trach. I mean, it just blew my mind. And I would talk to him, and I would just, and he said, I enjoy smoking, I've been smoking X number of years, and I'll die smoking. And that just blew me away. I mean, I was a
Wow,
young
that's-
nurse. And I've seen other situations where they just don't want to give up,
Right. Yep.
whatever they find pleasure in. And that's really hard to see, because you desire something better for them.
You want it.
And I know
more
your
for
passion
them.
as a coach.
We want it more for them than they want it.
Than they
and
want it
so
for them.
sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do
That's true.
in that case.
And sometimes, you just have to pray that people will kind of wake up to the reality that if you don't take care of your body,
It's never too late.
it's absolutely. I know years ago I used to work as a volunteer for the Cancer Society. And one of the things I learned years ago, a person can have been smoking for years, but if they stop smoking, the lungs and the body has a way of,
Right.
of repairing itself. So I think the message that you want to give, and I want to definitely reiterate, is that it's never too late.
Never too late.
And they're finding also that, the brain can regenerate. So, well, some of the research has, it's never too late. I mean, there have been some miracles that's happened. We know
That's
that
right.
God can do anything.
That's right.
And so you just have to have that willingness to change, the willingness to do better. And sometimes it's a slow process.
If they're coachable, then I can coach them.
You can coach them. You can turn it around.
That's right.
You can change the environment. You can get all the toxins out the house.
Yep.
And what are some other products that I need to get rid of besides my bleach?
Well, most of the products that you're probably using have bleach in them. So
Really?
there's a lot of, so you want to get rid of anything that has bleach in it,
Okay.
or if it has ammonia or formaldehyde, or
Wow.
those
Ooh.
are some of the main things.
I have to get rid of a lot of things in my house. And of course, I grew up using a certain product, a certain laundry soap that we won't mention, that's very popular on the market. I use it because that's what my mother used.
That's
and
right.
she told me that it was better than any of the other products. And when I was taking chemistry in college, I realized that the formula is not that much different. So, in fact, I argued with the professor, this is the better product. He said, no, Barbara.
Okay.
It's basically all the same,
Right.
the formula for it. But you're right. You mentioned earlier, we tend to use those things that our parents used. Or if they work for them, certainly they'll work for us.
And children, that there's so much more asthma, allergies, autoimmune diseases. There's so much more of this, cancer,
Yeah.
that if you stop and think that a lot of them are connected to
Wow.
the products that we're using. So
I never really thought too much about the products, but I've become very conscious of what chemicals are in various foods. And it is amazing. There are foods that haven't been approved by the FDA that they're selling. And, it's amazing that we don't take the time to read labels. And I find myself reading labels. What am I putting in my body? Because I want to feel good.
don't use, one of the things that people need to look at is all the processed food. That if you eat more fresh foods, then you're less likely to have to worry about all the other things.
I rarely purchase processed foods, and I've gotten away from some of those things that I used to love, that I won't call any names.
Okay.
I've gotten away from that, and I eat more vegetables and more fruits, and I feel better than eating a heavy meal, especially with beef.
Oh, right, yes.
So now the supplements that you have to offer, how do they help?
Well, the food, the fruits and the vegetables are, you don't know what kind of soil that the fruits and vegetables are grown in. So if the there's probably not a lot of nutrients left in a lot of the soil in the country.
Wow.
So we have to supplement so that we'll get the nutrients that we need.
Is organic really organic? Can we trust that? I've heard some say yes, and I've heard some said no. I know they're more expensive, but I tend to buy them anyway.
I guess there's certain things, there's certain fruits and vegetables that they say it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
Really?
That's what I've read, so I don't know.
Okay. So if I go and purchase some organic spinach, I can feel confident that it was grown in good soil?
Well, we want
to believe that.
to believe that we can be confident, but I'm not sure.
So your products will make a difference.
Yes.
You will help me clean up my environment and help me
Yes.
get rid of my bleach and some of my laundry detergent that I think is wonderful.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to be open to what you have to offer. And I would like to let our audience know how they can get in touch. In fact, I'll let Linda tell you how they can get in touch with you.
Okay.
So that we can clean up the environment and we can get healthy.
Okay, my website is www.makegreen.gogreen.com/Linda Charter.
Linda Charter. And they can, I know when I went on the website, then you can put your name in
Yes,
and then you will contact.
that's right.
So you just go to the website again. You want to share with them what it is again?
MakeGreenGoGreen.com/Linda Charter.
And you will get in touch with them,
Yes,
and then you will help them get rid of some of the bad products in their home. And
certainly
also
coach them.
Coach them.
Yes,
And after 17 years, I'm sure that you've seen so many positive results.
yes,
And-
I have.
And so when you put your name in the website, and you'll be getting in contact with them shortly
Yes,
and be able to get in touch with you so that we can be coached to wellness.
well, that's my
That's your goal.
goal, yes.
That's your goal. Well, Linda, it has just been a pleasure. I'm so happy that I was able to meet you
It was good to meet you as well.
at the Women Who Inspire, and look forward to working with you. And
Okay.
so see if you can convince me to get rid of some of the things that I dearly love.
Okay.
So it will be a challenge, I'm sure, for both of us. No, I'm open to making the environment better
Okay.
and certainly improving my health.
Okay.
And so I can feel better. And if God gives me long years to live, I want those to be quality years.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so, well, I'm just thankful that you were able to be on the show today.
Appreciate you having me.
That you can help our audience learn much, much more about the kinds of products that really not only mess up our environment, but they're not healthy for us.
That's right.
And so, and I'm really excited to hear about some of the supplements.
Okay.
And I think I eat a pretty healthy diet. Of course, we can always improve, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to offer. So,
Okay.
Linda, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
And just wish you all the blessings that you share with others.
You can, and so when I start coaching you, then you'll be able to share your results with your audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hope they'll be able to see some results.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this has been the Barbara Gentry-Pugh Show, and we will see you on next week.